And I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. And that's the day.
Come in, mate.
You want to do your thing? I'll go on the camera, man.
Nah, it's alright, mate. Nah, come in, mate. Yeah. Yeah, you can take this if you want.
You know, so boy, there's time, man. Trust me, man. People think it's a joke, man. You know? Certain people come up here and want to mock us. Yeah, they might have a zeal for the word and the scriptures, but really, they don't want to be learned. They don't want to learn. As you brothers, you stand and you listen. You have a question, you ask a question, and you actually listen. You know, right now we're fishing for you, man. You know, this word is fishing, man. Okay, and hopefully you've taken the bait, and you're only gonna want to be more saturated in the Bible, man. You understand? Because we're out here for our salvation and to wake up our people, so you can also gain salvation. Right? You understand, bro? No? So you got to come back, man. You know, you got to get back onto this. You know, because this is your heritage, man. This is your heritage.
I'm asked to choke
He even knew that the fake ones were the bastards.
Right, yeah, he had a book called The Nazis.
Yeah.
It's called The Nazis, and he sent one of them, Heinrich Himmler. He sent him out to do research, and he found out that the so-called Negroes were the real Jews.
Yeah, and he done
and he put the bastard, I've seen that, he put the bastard as the hook-nosed Jews, Hookfire I think it was called, something like that. And he put the original Jews. He said that these are the bastards and these are the real Jews. That's why when was it Jesse Owens, when he went and raced against them sort of them fucking white Germans, when he went to shake his hand, he didn't want to shake his hand. You understand? Because he knew that he was the real Jew. You know what I mean? And that's why he was putting them in a furnace. Because he said that if you want to be the real Jews, he said, I'm going to put you in a furnace and turn you into the colour of the real Jews. Yeah, so yeah, that's what he said, isn't it? He knew, because he was an Austrian. He was an Austrian German. Yeah, his mother's name was
Schickelgruber.
Schickelgruber. Yeah, the father, Solomon Rothschild, he had sex with Hitler's mother, Schickelgruber, and then Hitler's name was Adolf Schickelgruber, originally. They changed it to Hitler when they started funding him. Yes.
So Hitler was a Rothschild?
Hitler was the son of one of the sons of the Rothschild.
Illegitimate.
Yeah.
The only way these people are going to get in power is because they've been put in positions. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, they're just puppets, man. That's all they are, is puppets. The people with money, you never know who they are. You never really see them. But nowadays, they're being revealed because it's the last days. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to tell on themselves, basically.
Yeah, it's true.
They're telling on themselves.
Edward Snowden and stuff.
Their tongue.
Okay, I'll get it.
Right, I'm going to go into a little bit of history. This is a book by a scholar named Ivan van Sertima.
Show us the cover.
It's called, I'll read it out first. It's called African Presence in Early Europe, edited by Ivan van Sertima. Right, I'm going to read some excerpts from this book here. This is regarding African presence in early Europe. I'll start here, I'll start at page 58 and the last chapter. It says, in most of the examples cited, for whatever nature, the two great types appear as enemies, which was their natural attitude. And a great number of the legendary instances preserved in memory of the mutual enmity. The black giants of the Welsh and other tales are hateful and horrid. The Welsh black oppressor and the black knights of Lancashire are fierce tyrants and cruel foes of all white people. At a later date, when the whites were gaining ascendancy and the blacks were cut up into struggling bands, or lurking like black Moros of Galloway. In solidarity, dense forests, shades out of which they issued by night, intent on murder and raping. Even at this stage, for their history, the blacks were dreaded enemies of whites. Indeed, it is of this epoch that the popular imagination has most retained their oppression. The days of the black oppression are as remote as the memory only lives in half-forgotten legends. Not so the time when black castles were owned by another race, and their former masters were skulking among the woods and caves. So basically that's telling you that we're the ones that built the castles. You see all that? You got the, what's that castle? The Windsor Castle. That was built by the Black Moors. Yeah?
Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, Buckingham Palace.
I heard the story.
Yeah, what's the cathedral? All them, the cathedrals. Yeah, St. Paul's, that was all built by so-called Negroes. Right, this is when we ruled in early Europe. It says here, so vivid was the fear of them, and so lasting its impression, that children of the 19th century, peering into dark recesses, tumultuously, or present girls, seeing suddenly their own image reflected by the candle from the dark window pane, shivers all over with apprehension at the vision of the dreaded black man, a mere imaginary bugbear to them, but the real terror to those who inherited that feeling. Thus, we see some of the memories of the blacks of early Britain. Ultimately, perhaps inevitably, the original antagonism began to soften and the agglomeration of sorts took place. But the traces of our black ancestry are visibly existent in 100 surnames. Some of these denoted complexion, others do so. But indirectly, the first class includes a great many. These are the clans. Uri, the Donegal, spelled Donegal, are the black strangers in their own genealogy. There are varieties of Duan, black, such as the Duff, the Du, the Macduff, and others. There are Donnies, Cars, and Durgs, which were the equivalent Duns, Browns, Greys, and Blacks. All these are coloured names, showing a black or tawny ancestor. So also is the name Douglas or Douglas, literally black swarthy, and of Murray, which is the kindred forms of Moor, etc. So basically, see these names, what you've got Donegal, the Duans, Murray, you know, Andrew Murray, they're all so-called Negro names. Yeah, they go back to the Moors.
Even like I realised even like the name actually like more, you know, like some like the names like like the ethnic, you know, some people surname like MWRE, like that more as well. I realised that. Now I heard the word done as well. That explains like the Irish people. Irish people called done. So yeah,
Have you heard of Alexander Dumas? He's one who written about the three Musketeers.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys have to be careful. People like the Spanish and the Italian, they're from Moorish blood. They could possibly come off Israel.
Yeah, we know about that.
You know the Spanish team. What do they put?
Yeah, Job 13 and 4, bruv.
Yeah, we know.
The Spanish are done.
Like they play football like the Brazilians.
Yeah, Brazilians, their ancestors were the Moors as well. You understand? But yeah, they put the ancestors in the Moors still.
This is Job 13 and 4.
Might want to start.
Ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. No? Oh, that ye would altogether hold your peace, and it should be your wisdom. Hear now my reasoning, and hearken to the pleadings of my lips.
But
Ye speak wickedly for God, and talk deceitfully for him. No? So that's like, it's basically saying that there's people out there who are forging lies, man. No, they're not out here bringing you the truth. But saying that, those same people who forged those lies, their tongue's going to fall on them. You know?
Right, we read another.
You know, they're basically going to... And you know what? Even down to this book. Who published this book, man?
Ivan Van Sertimore.
But who are the publishers of the book?
It's probably some fucking.
Might say at the front, maybe.
You know? That's a so-called Israelite here, Ivan Van Sertimore, right?
Yeah.
The so-called Israelite here. But I'm sure he never published his book. Look, New Brunswick and London, right? So they're out here publishing these books who are basically cutting them as a nation of people, explaining truth and history, historical facts, and they will then publish that. You understand? But they know our people ain't going to read that. You know? They're not going to read that, right? But let me get one more stitch up to jump back into that. So they're telling on themselves, man. This is Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And all men shall fear, and shall declare the work of God, for they shall wisely consider his doings. Right? So we're fearing the works of God, because we see his works. We see his prophecies and have an understanding and have been taught and shown that a lot of his prophecies have already come to pass. So we're in fear, you know. And those people who are actually, you know, forging those lies, they're also bringing out truth as well, you know. And that truth is showing you who they are as a people and as a nation, you know. And that's all. It's all in the Bible, man. It explains it all, man. You know. It explains it all.
Alright, this is page 54. I'll start at the third chapter. It says here, it was probably racial elements of this combination that constituted the physical composition of the cellules described by first century historians. Tacitus as swarthy, complexion with hair tending to curl. Moors, black Moors, tawny Moors. Shakespeare uses the word Moor as a synonym for Negro. MacRitchie's, that's another book, another scholar called Dave MacRitchie, work on the Moors is one of the highlights of ancient and modern Britain. The author was convinced absolutely, totally and completely that the Moors were, beyond a shadow of a doubt, black people who played a vital role in the colonization of Western Europe, and especially Britain. For although it may not be easy to trace their route hither and the date of their arrival, a branch of this family did inhabit Britain, and are not only known as Maori or Moors, but also as Maverinus, Maurinius, Murraymen, and the people of Moray or Marina. This name Marina was given to two districts in Scotland. The smaller district in the south has been named father of the family distinguished in Scottish history. The Murrays of Philiphaugh of Selkirkshire, one of the states of which clan bore significant name of the Black Barney. We see one of the black people in persons of the King of Albay of the 12th century. History known him sometimes as Kenneth. We read about him, Kenneth, the Scot, I think his name was. Sometimes known as Duan, or sometimes as Niger. The version of this published article in Irish Nunes called him Kina Val Duan, and Saint Bakar styles him Duan of the three black divisions. The Picts seem to have preserved a tradition that the whole nation was once divided into 7 provinces. One would appear that the black divisions over which Dewan or black held sway formed that portion, original seventh, which remained untouchable by the white races. The Moors are still largely represented throughout British Islands, although of course the cross and recrossing of 30 generations, while increasing the number of the descendants, has lessened and tinted of resemblance to two ancestral stocks. But the Swazi view asserts itself still, though the modified degree. Last century, when Martin described the western islands of Scotland, he remarked that the complexion of the natives of Skye was of most part black. Of the natives of Jura, he said they were generally black complexion, and of Aryan, and they were generally brown. Some of a black complexion.
Can I just say this, just like what the brother's reading, you know, all these certain names, they derive from these